Hello everyone and welcome back to Module 2 of our SQL course, SQL Software, Tools and Environment Setup. In the last module, we learned what SQL is and why it is so important. Today, we are going to remove one of the biggest barriers for beginners, which is setting up your SQL environment. By the end of this module, you will have a fully working MySQL server and MySQL workbench, and you will even run your first query. Let's get started. Here is what we will cover today. We will understand why having the right tools is important. We look at popular SQL database platforms. We will compare GUI and command line tools and then go step by step through installing my SQL server, installing and connecting my SQL workbench, creating our test database, running our test query, troubleshooting common problems, and finally, best practices for your development environment. Before you can write any meaningful SQL, you need two things: a database server to store your data, and a client tool to interact with it. This module is designed to remove the setup barrier so you can start querying real data quickly and confidently. We will focus on MySQL because it is completely free, very beginner friendly, has a huge community, and works on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. A proper setup today will save you hours of frustration tomorrow. Let's get you running SQL in under 20 minutes. An SQL database system has two main parts. The database server. This is where your data is actually stored, queries are executed, and rules are enforced. Example, MySQL, PostgreSQL, etc. And client tool, this is what you use to send commands and see the result. Example, MySQL Workbench, pgadmin, and SSMS. Popular free and open source options include MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQLite, Microsoft SQL Server. For this course, we recommend starting with MySQL. Popular SQL database platforms. Let's do a quick comparison to help you understand the choices. If you look at this table closely, you will see MySQL gets a star rating of 5 for ease of installation and is perfect for web apps beginners and e-commerce. It has a very high community support and excellent cloud options, while PostgreSQL is excellent for analytics and complex applications. SQL Server Express is great if you are in Microsoft ecosystem, while SQLite is fantastic for learning and small projects because it requires zero installation. It is important to note that we will use MySQL throughout this course, but the skills you learn will transfer easily to other platforms. SQL development tools. There are two main types of tools: graphical user interface, GUI. These are visual and beginner friendly. MySQL Workbench, official for MySQL. And we have command line interface tools. These are the faster ones you are comfortable, MySQL, PSQL, etc. My recommendation for beginners is to start with MySQL Workbench. It is visual, intuitive, and very powerful. Step by step installing my SQL server. Now comes the exciting part. Let's install my SQL server. For Windows and Mac OS users, go to the official website and download my SQL installer. Run the installer and choose Developer Default Setup. You set a strong password. You finish the installation, which usually takes 5 to 10 minutes. Then my SQL server will start automatically as a service. After installation, you verify if it works. You open your command prompt or terminal and type mysql slash dot type root hyphen, then enter your password. If you see the MySQL prompt, congratulations, MySQL is installed. Installing and connecting MySQL Workbench. Next, we install MySQL Workbench. Similarly, go to the site and download Workbench and install. It may include my SQL installer. You launch the Workbench and click the plus sign next to my SQL connection. You fill in the connection name, the host name, and the port username and password. Click text connection. You should see successfully made my SQL connection. Double click the connection to open it. Now you are in my SQL Workbench and ready to use. Creating our first database. Let's create our very first database. There are two ways. Method one, using SQL, which is recommended. The query for creating database using SQL is create database, then the name of database is school underscore DB. Use school DB. Method two is using Workbench GUI. In the left sidebar, right-click in the schemas panel, then name it school underscore DB. Then click apply and refresh the schemas panel. Your new empty database is ready. Writing and running our first SQL query. Now for the fun part, let's write and run our first real query. In the new query tab, type in this, create table with student ID, first name, last name, and age. Then insert into the table name student. You insert first name, last name, age, the values of Aisha Bello 22, Chunedu Okeke 19. Then select from table student. The output will look like this table. Student with first name, column, last name, column, and age. The first name is Aisha and Chinedu. Last name Bello and Okeke, and the ages are 22 and 19 respectively. Look at that. You have just created a table and inserted data and retrieved it. Congratulations, you are now officially writing SQL. Troubleshooting common setup issues. Sometimes things don't go smoothly. Here are the most common problems and fixes. Access denied for users. You enter the wrong password, reset it during the installer. Port 3306 already in use. Another MySQL OR is using default. Change default or stop the other service. Workbench cannot connect. Make sure MySQL service is running on Windows. Search for service.msc. Installer fails. Run as administrator and temporarily disable antivirus. Forgot root password. Reinstall or use the skip grant tables method. When you get an error, Google the exact error message. 95% of setup issues have quick solutions online. Best practices for SQL development environment. Before we finish, let's go over some important best practices, do's and don'ts. Always use my SQL Workbench or DB while learning. Create a separate database for each project. Always back up before using drop or major alter. Use lower cases with underscores or names, e.g. student underscore ID. Test queries on small data first. Keep my SQL updated for security and performance. And do not do this. Do not run as a root user in production. Do not use spaces or special characters in table or columns names. And do not ignore error messages. Always read them carefully. Do not skip backwards before dangerous operations. Great job today. This module has equipped you with a fully working SQL environment, MySQL Server, and Workbench. You have already created your test database and run your test query. You now have a solid foundation and no more set of red blocks. In the next module, we will start writing real select queries and learn how to retrieve data effectively. A smooth setup is your first big win in SQL, and you have already achieved it. See you in Module 3.